You can't optimize what you haven't mastered, yet most businesses are trying to run before they can walk. Companies that look effortlessly successful aren't doing anything revolutionary. They're just perfecting the fundamentals so completely that execution looks like magic. What if your breakthrough is hiding in plain sight? Top-performing organizations spend 40% of their time refining the basics that the competitors considered handled. They know that the extraordinary results come from doing ordinary things extraordinarily well, consistently, without exception. Businesses that neglect fundamental systems waste an average of 21 hours per week in preventable problems and lose annually to efficiencies that strong basics would eliminate. Every day you choose advanced strategies while ignoring the fundamental gaps. Your competitors with superior fundamentals are capturing the market share you're leaving on the table. One of the things that I love about sushi is it is pure and clean. And it is very much a very simple food. It requires little to no sauces or extras. Now, I know rolls, but let's talk about the traditional sushi for a minute. And in many ways, it's a presentation of a piece of fish and a piece of rice and a small bite. And that bite can be perfected to greater heights. And so sushi for me is always that fascination of really understanding the fundamentals. And I've enjoyed watching masters at work who spent their entire life thinking, working, and developing the ability to present this classic food in a way that is refined beyond what most people would spend. And what's fascinating to me is that the more you have the refinements, the less the trappings become important. My favorite restaurant for sushi in the United States is in a strip mall in San Diego. My favorite restaurant for sushi in Japan is in a Subway. So the ambiance, though lovely once you walk in, has a surprising change from where you find it. But they've mastered the fundamentals. You cannot hide the food or the quality or the work behind sauces and spices. You have to actually create a perfect rice. And in many ways, someone who wants to become a sushi chef, at least in the older times and in the more traditional ways of doing it, would have to spend years understanding how to make the rice, because that is the fundamental bed. And that taste of the rice is what is going to display the quality of the fish and the preparation thereof. I can't think of anything that has an encouragement to work on the fundamentals as much as the simplicity of a piece of sushi. The simplicity of the taste, the cut, the preparation, the selection, working on the absolute fundamentals to the point where even the fundamentals become a work of art. Where else in the world do you look forward to sitting at a table and watching the food be prepared? Now, there are kitchen seats and tables in many restaurants, but traditionally one sits at a sushi bar and watches the food prepared and it is presented. And it's watching the fundamentals. It's the display of the fundamentals to a point of art. And the challenge is that that's not exciting. That's not even vaguely interesting. And especially if you've been in an industry for a while, the fundamentals are really boring. But if you watch the grandmasters, and the Japanese are very much ahead of us on this. If you watch the grandmasters, they're doing simple tasks in an elevated and artful way. And in fact, what they do have is they have the gems of Japan, the individuals who are doing the ancient techniques and the ancient arts, or the arts of Japan, in such a refined way that they're recognized and celebrated. We in this culture don't celebrate that as well and as much. We in this culture don't interact with the fundamentals. We want to get on to the bigger stuff. And I've done another video about how it's important to continue to teach the fundamentals, even if you want to talk about the bigger and broader things. Because the fundamentals is what we all need to get better at. And if we can perfect that, if we can create that base of rice, then the thing that we're presenting, the idea, the product that we're presenting on that bed of rice has greater impact, has greater efficiency, has greater interest. And in many ways, that's the power. It's astounding how quickly you want to move from the simple things to more complex and more sexy things. But if we can break down and start the fundamentals. I heard someone say that the first 100 YouTube videos on YouTube are a waste. I disagree. The first 100 videos are just helping you understand the fundamentals, helping you understand how to talk, how to work, how to spend time looking at you and talking, how to set up the equipment and make sure it's working, and how to be comfortable talking to someone like you who's not in the same room. We have to perfect this on a regular basis. We have to develop the tenacity, the interest, the understanding that continuing to perfect the fundamentals becomes one of the more important things that we can do for our long-term growth. It's astounding to me how many people haven't gone back and checked their fundamentals. So I make it a habit of every quarter selecting something new to learn. And most of those are fundamental things for me. Either that's video editing or taking a course in writing and how you can move people to action, or the psychology of selling, the psychology of marketing. Doing deep dives into the fundamentals gives me a bigger base to be able to serve my clients and help my people. And I can present that in a very simple way that seems like magic. I have the advantage of talking to people in industries all across the world. And it seems like I'm able to help them only because I've developed those fundamentals. I understand how people are thinking, how people are acting, how people interact. And we're able to control into that so that people see this differently. It's exciting to watch the intricacies of how we work and how we think and how we develop those fundamentals. So what fundamental thing do you take for granted? What fundamental thing are you good at that you could get better at? What fundamental thing for your business would be good for you to create so that you could perfect that art? I'd love you to think about that. Spend some time thinking about what fundamentals you could get better at. What fundamentals could you perfect into a greater piece of art so that people could understand you better? So people will see the magic that you play. And if they see it as something simple like that, imagine if they hire you, what else they could do. Do me a favor, think about that, and what's the most important fundamentals in the comments below. Let's continue to have a conversation around exactly what fundamentals will make all of us better. I look forward to talking to you. I look forward to continuing this conversation.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode on the Strategy Session, where we take your business from stuck to unstoppable. Here's another video I think you'd enjoy. If you found these insights valuable, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest videos. Remember, you're not just marketing, you're making history with Ventured Gained.